Hey, what it is. You already know what it is. It's the big boss hog, boss dog can't poke through the door. We here with Coach, aka Coach Brody. Man, we back at it, man. We got another episode we gonna drop on y'all head. You know what I mean? We gonna talk about Keyshawn Davis. Man, is he clout chasing tank? We gonna talk about Abdullah Mason. Mm. And coach got a little special coaching point for that. And we're gonna talk about that boy Jaron Buzenis. Is he regressing? Is he progressing? We don't know. We ain't stressing. But let's get to it. Stay tuned. Y'all, we back at it. We back at it. We starting off right. Man, we going straight into the five, man. We ain't running from nothing. Abdullah Mason had a tough outing in his last fight. I believe it was last weekend or last Friday, if I might add. Came out hot, came out hot trying to knock dude out, and he ended up getting knocked down twice. But he ended up finishing dude off, showing that he's a dog and he got true grit. But there's some things that I think he need to fix. But everybody heard my point of view on that. But we want to hear what Coach talking about. So, Coach, the questions I have for you is, what did you think about that performance from Abdullah Mason? And for the Clutches Corner, what do you feel like he done wrong, and what did you feel like he did right, and what can he learn from this to be better in his next fight?
First and foremost, y'all know what it is. Pause, no freakies in full effect. But what it is, my people, let's get straight to it. Abdullah Mason, like K Paul already pointed out, he had it a little bit tougher than we used to see him in his last outing, which is part of the bumps and bruises and growing of the boxing world. So in my opinion, a lot of people would say something different, but I still think he was still Abdullah Mason in his fight. And this is where you start to create that separation from the the good, the great, and the elite fighters. Right here, he got clipped, he got cracked, he went down. Why? Is because he was relying on something he knows that has been working. Now that he knows there's competition out there who can throw with the best of them, and him specifically talking about Abdullah Mason, he has to start defining himself as a boxer and still keep that dog mentality. Like right here, I still think it was a dominant performance in the sense of Abdullah Mason remaining and continuing to fight as Abdullah Mason. But at the same time, these type of fights will again separate the good, the great, and the elite. And I believe the way Abdullah Mason finished this fight was great because that's what we're accustomed to seeing from Abdullah Mason. Overall, I mean, it was a clip that came out. I got to find the clip, but he had to, in my opinion, the advice he got from his father in his corner was the best advice you can give a fighter because that's some of the same stuff I would tell him. The clip basically was saying, "You're great. We know what you can do. Slow down, put a clock on them, and when it's your time to throw, it's your time to throw. Put them down. We good. You got clipped, you got cracked, but at the same time, remember, you still can box. You know how to box. You don't have to rely on power all the time, especially by you going down twice already. Go. Let's go to what we know how to do. We don't have to stay in the fire if we don't want to. Keep them at bay, keep them at a distance, and then when it's your time to let off those bombs, let those bombs off. But again, I think the type of fighter, the type of person, the type of trainers Abdullah Mason has in his corner and him himself, I think coming out of this fight and going into his next fight, I think we're going to start seeing him go to that great status. Because in my opinion, elite is higher than great. If you're an elite fighter, to me, in my opinion, that's different. Because great, it's been a lot of great fighters who's never been recognized as being great, but at the same time, the elite fighters, the great elite fighters, should I say, they separate themselves and nobody can touch them. Nobody can downplay them. Nobody can say anything about them because why? They're great and elite because they grew in those. They grew when they came out of those matches that were tough. They started giving people rematches, i.e., Floyd Mayweather and so forth. You know what I'm saying? So with Abdullah Mason in this fight, if I'm coaching him, I'm gonna tell him, hey, slow down. You know what I'm saying? To take those first three rounds, I'm not saying lay off, but start assessing a little bit more now that we've been going up in competition. Start assessing a little bit more in those one rounds 1 to 3. And then after you got some stuff downloaded in your database, all right, just like his coach said, just like his father said, put him on a timer, put him on a clock. Look for those repetitive shots and take advantage of it. But other than that, again, I still think this was a dominant performance from Abdullah Mason. Of course, a lot of people say it's not as dominant because he went down, but just because you go down don't mean you can't continue to get up and have a dominant performance. A lot of people miss that concept of the boxing world these days. They say, "Oh, he went down. He went down." Now everybody think it's a blueprint. He can be knocked out. No, the dude showed heart. He showed grit. He showed he got a beard. He showed he can get up and continue to fight and put somebody down. You know what I'm saying? That's what we want to see. We don't want to just see fighters continue to float through everything, and it looks easy. Because if it's easy, then that means maybe you need to step up the level of competition. You know what I'm saying? And that goes not just with Abdullah Mason, that goes with any top fighter that we call P4P or anything among those lines. But at the same time, in my opinion, like I said, his corner gave him the best advice you could possibly give a fighter in a situation like that. Abdullah Mason still got up and turned in a dominant performance. He got the dub. But now it's time to go back to the drawing board and look at what you actually know how to do. Because again, he's going to get to that level. He's going to be one of the greats, and you're going to fight those great elite fighters, whether you want to or not. And I think this is one of those early on fights he can learn from and start separating himself now. And I'm gonna leave that at that.
Hey man, I second everything you said. And real quick, in this boxing game, you have to understand who you are as a fighter, and you have to understand that you you have to be in control of everything when you get in that ring. You know what I mean? You control the pace, you control the tempo. That's when you talk about elite guys or great guys, that's one thing that they learned how to do is be in control. And when you're in control, meaning you can get your opponent to do whatever you want them to do. And I believe Abdullah Mason, this was I would say a learning lesson for him, and I do think he will improve and build off of this. So this was a great example of, you know, if you like a kid say, you know how a kid touch the stove and they get burnt on their hand.
Right.
That, that that's what this was. You know what I mean? So I think Abdullah Mason will learn from this and he will evolve. Now, segueing off into the next topic, Keyshawn Davis coming off of I gave him a grade A performance against Lemos. He fought in his hometown in Norfolk, Virginia. They packed that thing out over their paws. And he started feeling himself after the fight. He like, look, I only want light skin. No, well, in fact, don't take my word for it. Listen to it.
The person that I'm calling out that I want to fight is Javante, man. Other than that, don't ask me to fight nobody, bro. I keep proving y'all wrong and wrong and wrong. And before I prove it to y'all, I say it first. Because I know what I'm about to do and what I'm about to become. Since the beginning, since I turned pro, I was talking jump to the undisputed champions of the world. I was saying things that actually transpired into the truth, bro. I'm the truth, bro. And y'all, it's so hard for y'all to realize that. It's because I'm so great that y'all not gonna love it until it's gone. But I'm trying to tell y'all, love me.
All right, Coach. Floor is yours. What you think about that? Let me know something.
First and foremost, again, just like you said, I give him an A+ in his last performance. He did what he was supposed to do, and he did it, in a dominant fashion. You know what I'm saying? So big up, shout out, Keyshawn Davis. Good job. Now, the question that remains at hand is Keyshawn Davis ready for Tank? If I'm being honest, number of fights, no. Competition, no. But when it all boils down to this entire situation, I look at it. from a different perspective, and I'm putting a different light on this situation. Okay, we're not getting Devin Haney. We're not getting Shakur Stevens. We're not going to get a Tiafimo. We're not going to get Zapata. We're not going to get. There's a lot of X's. No Lou Machenko. There's a lot of X's here. Now we're down to Tank and Lamont Roach. All right, at this point, we got to ask ourselves this question: what guy would we put in there right now with Tank Davis? Not saying that this guy would beat him, but what guy other than Keyshawn Davis would we rather see in the ring with Javante Tank Davis to say, okay, either this is going to be great for Keyshawn or this is going to be excellent for Tank? You know, it's a situation where I'm not saying Keyshawn Davis is ready to fight a Tank, let alone beat a Tank. But at the same time, I wouldn't be opposed to this fight at all. This is something I would watch because why? Yeah, we haven't seen Keyshawn Davis get 100% crack. We haven't seen him 100% rock. We've seen him get hit. We've seen him take some punches. Same thing with Tank. We haven't seen him crack. We haven't seen him rock. We've seen him take some punches. But at the same time, the some of the questions that arise when you put these two fighters into perspective in the same ring is, damn, okay, Keyshawn Davis can really throw. He can really, I'm being honest, you know what I'm saying? I'm calling spade a spade. Keyshawn Davis got some power behind his punches, obviously. He just knocked out a bigger man, a bigger guy. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Tank. Tank's been doing it his whole career, regardless of the hydration clauses or whatever. If you got a problem with it, then don't come down and fight Tank. You know what I'm saying? There's ways around it. Make him come up. Stop giving him these fights. Stop going down to where, everybody's saying, oh, he's not coming up because that's where he's comfortable. Well, damn right. Excuse my French, but if I can keep suckering y'all in to come down where I'm comfortable at, well, guess what? I'm gonna keep doing. I'm gonna stay where I'm comfortable at, and I'm gonna keep getting my dub. But anyways, that's a whole nother story. Again, back to the topic at hand. Keyshawn Davis, and Tank in the same ring. There is no other guy who I see that can pose any kind of threats right now in the ring with Tank other than Keyshawn Davis because the simple fact, I think at this point, Keyshawn Davis has now psyched himself out. And I won't even say psyched himself out. I would say Keyshawn Davis is really starting to, make people believe at this point. And he's a guy, he has a lot of crazy wordplay. Sometimes I don't get into it, but at the same time, it's like, okay, how many times can a guy say over and over and over what are you gonna do and actually capitalize on it? It ain't been too many people in the sport of boxing to do that. Yeah, it may seem like a lot, but it ain't too many people in the sport of boxing who's executed, you know what I'm saying, in that manner. Regardless of the competition, it's still hard to get in there and knock another grown man out who's trying to do the same thing to you. But at the same time, it's like I would like to see this fight. And again, I'm not saying Keyshawn Davis can beat Tank, and I'm not saying he's ready. But what other fighter can we put in front of Tank and say this guy will pose a threat other than Keyshawn Davis? Keyshawn Davis poses a threat because of the simple fact he's not scared. Obviously, he's playing Tank's game against him right now by calling him out and saying, I'm not saying nothing else. I just want to fight. At this point, me, in my opinion, and I'm not a Tank fan at all. I'm not a fan of any fighter. At this point, this guy's calling you out. He calling your bluff and he playing your game with it. I think Tank should go fight and prove. He got to prove something to somebody before he retire. Not saying he ain't proven enough. Not saying he ain't proved nothing. But at the same time, Tank needs to start getting those meaningful notches up under his belt. Yeah, you beat Frank Martin. Yeah, you beat Santa Cruz. Yeah, you beat Garcia. Yeah, you beat XYZ Pitbull Cruz and all that good stuff. But at the same time, you need to start getting these guys that's calling you consistently. Like nobody's trying to fight you, bro. These guys are trying to fight you. Go fight 'em. Go fight 'em. And again, I'm gonna make sure I make this clear. I do not think Keyshawn Davis will beat Tank. I don't think he is ready for Tank. But at the same time, if somebody can tell me what other fighter in this world is ready to pose a threat to Tank, let me know and I'm up to debate about it. And I'm gonna leave that right there.
Yeah, I think that real quick, Keyshawn Davis is a heck of a fighter. He got power. He's more of a boxer puncher, in my opinion. He's a guy that is like a combination puncher. He got power. He definitely got something behind him. You know, But the difference is, Tank got more experience, right? And I just feel like, and this is my opinion, not saying I'm right, but if Keyshawn Davis fights Tank right now, Tank gonna run that man into something. If you pay attention to what Keyshawn is saying, Keyshawn, when he talks about Tank, all he mentions is that Tank got power. He don't mention Tank's IQ. He don't talk about how smart Tank is in that ring and how he forces fighters to do what he wants them to do. He just talks about Tank just got one punch knockout power. That's gonna be the difference in that fight right now. That right now, it's gonna be he gonna underestimate Tank. See, people look at Tank and they just see he knocking people out. They don't see the IQ. And when they get in there with him, they see why certain fighters who got a signature punch, Ryan Garcia, can't land them. Frank Martin. They got certain signature punches. They can't land them. But he's getting them to do exactly what he wants them to do. And when you're in there with a Tank, he's gonna force you to do exactly what he wants you to do. So I just think that, me personally, Keyshawn ain't ready. But he want that smoke. Put him in there. Put him in there and see what's gonna happen. I'm telling you right now, as of today, 2024, 2025, if Keyshawn Davis fights Gervonta Tank Davis, he's getting knocked out. Now, if Keyshawn Davis waits and develops, that's a different type of fight. That's just my perspective on it. Now we're gonna segue off into the final topic. Jambu Enos fights Karen Chukadasian. And he had a performance to where he won. Right now it's decision. But was it really unanimous? And I'm not sitting here saying in retrospect to that Karen Chukadasian won some rounds, which he did, but it wasn't in the sense of like it was robbery or anything. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it was a lackluster performance from Jambu Enos. Jambu Enos has had lackluster performances since he signed with Eddie Hearn. And the real question is he regressing? So, Coach got a lot to talk about. I'm going to sit back and chill. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to sit here, get my popcorn ready, and we're going to let Coach cook on this matter. Let me know something.
All right, here we go. You can everybody can agree to disagree, but I'm just gonna spit, what I see from a coach's perspective and somewhat a fighter's perspective right here. Again, just like Capo mentioned, we have been seeing staggered and somewhat content and complacent Jaron Boots in it since he signed with Eddie Hearn. Now, there's a lot of factors that plays into to why we see this, kind of, I won't say lackluster, but why we see these, complacent, you know, replay performances for Jaron Boots is number one, level of competition. Number two, Eddie Hearn is not pushing the envelope when it comes to Jaron Boots. He's not getting his prize fighter out there with the better competition. Whoever the better competition is, it doesn't matter who it is at this point. And I'm not going to say he's digressing or regressing or anything like that. But at the same time, we're going to continue to see these performances. Why? Because this typically happens with a lot of people, with a lot of fighters. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're at that great elite status, i.e., again, Floyd Mayweather, giving people rematches, early, not even early on in your career, just at a certain point in your career, giving certain fighters rematches poses issues for the simple fact that, especially for Jerome Boots Ennis, he could easily be one of the greatest fighters of this generation, but he's not getting those big fights to level him up. He's going against some of the same competition that he fought when he was leveling up. So if y'all get what I'm saying, he's kind of plateauing right now because he's dealing with the same, it's the second time fighting the guy. You know what I'm saying? So you can tell Jaron Boots Ennis kind of just got in there and went with what he knew that worked the first time instead of, you know, coming in there as a rematch and he just fought two other guys that were greats and he beat them. So he's just kind of staying there and he went with worked the first time around. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, can we really blame him for being, being like lackluster in the last few performances since he's been with Eddie Hearn? Yeah, sure, we can point the finger, but at the same time, it's like we need to be Eddie Hearn need to be pushing the envelope, and we need to be, as fans of the sport, we need to be pushing. We need to be pushing the envelope as well. Like, hey, why is Boots not fighting this guy? Why we can't get this guy to fight Boots? What's the issue? You know what I'm saying? Even when he fought the guy, I forget his name, the one guy they bought, him and Terrence Crawford fought. They both fought, and who was it? Avenue? No, was it
Yeah,
Avenue?
David Evans.
Avenue, David Avenue. You can tell they watch film, but they kind of capitalize on the same opportunities Bud Crawford had against David Avenesian. You can see it. You can tell they watch film, especially if you're a fighter and you're a coach. You can see where they went and watched blueprint film off of when Bud Crawford fought David Avenesian. They kind of took advantage of the same, weak points. And I'm like, that's good. I'm glad you did what you did, but you should have did it in a different fashion. That way people can't continuously compare you to the same, well, not compare, but put y'all on the same path. You know what I'm saying? Even though they not, but at the same time, it's like you need to still be developing yourself as a great elite fighter. You shouldn't be having these fights to where you look complacent, you look, kind of staggered. It looks like you're getting hit more. It looks like you kind of settling on your power. It looks like you kind of settling to be in the pocket. No, you need to continue to level up. Treat these like elite sparring matches. If you know you can wipe the floor with a dude, then wipe the floor with him. But at the same time, be developing yourself as if you're about to get the Terrence Bud Crawford fight or whoever you get if you move up to 54 or whatever you choose to do. And this is why we continue to you see these type of fights from Jared Boots. It's the level of competition. It's in my opinion, it's like you can kind of sense the I'm not sure if I really believe from Eddie Hearn when Jaron Boots Ennis is out there because he's not really pushing the envelope. He talked great about all his other fighters, but again, you just kind of say what you got to say about Boots. You get him a fight, and you think the job is done. No, like let's get him in there with the guys he's supposed to be in there with. I don't care who it is at this point, because what's going to happen is just like you said a while ago, Kpo, we're gonna get Jaron Boots in his career is gonna be wasted, being with Eddie Herman. That's why it was like the marriage between Eddie Hearn and Jerron Boots Ennis was kind of like that's a kind of shaky relationship. And now we're going through the relationship and it's like K Poe called it right. This wasn't the greatest of marriages between fighter and representative. You know what I'm saying? Like it should have been he should have went a different way. He should have did it independently, maybe for a little bit, and just did like a one or two fight contract with Matchroom to see how it go. But at this point, again, like I pointed to in the beginning, this is why we continue to see these type of performances, and it looks like Jaron Bruce Ennis is digressing, but he's not really digressing. He's just at the point where the level of competition is not making him elevate, for lack of a better term. But at the same time, that's how I want to put that right there. Anybody that disagree or agree, comment, let me know. We can debate about it all day long. But at the same time, this is what I see and this is what I feel going on with Jerome Boots is they need to get him in there with the competition that's gonna make him level up. Because when he was coming up, you can see as the competition was arising, he was arising. But now he's in there with those guys who's either beneath him or just not on the same planet, and he's kind of fighting down to their level. So I'm gonna keep saying it. We need to get this guy, Jerron Booster, in there with the elite competition, so we can actually see. Like we need to see the speculation should be done. We need at this point we should know if Jerron Booster is one of those guys or not. And I believe he is, but right now the level of competition is not giving him a chance to show that. And you can see mentally he's like, I'm just gonna do this because this worked the first time. Or I'm gonna rely on my power. Or I'm not even gonna really use my speed no more. He's not even really you can see he's not even really switch hitting no more. Like which means, hey, we gotta push the envelope. We gotta get him out of here with these guys before we waste another great fighter. And I'm done with the Jerron Boots in the situation.
Yeah, and his dad is on record saying that he don't watch film. So I think that is a problem as well. When you look at the greats, somebody watching film. Somebody.
Hmm.
It may not be the fighter, but the coach for damn sure is watching film. So, somebody need to start watching film. And Boots has to start putting punches together because as you rise in competition, it gets tougher. You want Crawford right now. I don't see him being Crawford. You want hell, even Errol. You want guys like that. Pause. You got to be able to put stuff together. And right now, the way you're looking, it's looking like you still are a prospect. So that's my take on it, real quick. Coach, you got anything else you want to add?
No, sir. I just want to say what's good, my people. That's all. That's all. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. That's all.
All right, we've reached the month of November. I told y'all, like on my channel, I'm posting every day in November. I ain't stopping. Ain't no safety on this Glock. I'm shooting, and that's just what it is. We're gonna have some videos with Coach on here. It may be just me. It don't matter. But like I told you, Boss gonna shoot every day, and I'm dropping some every day on all platforms. So y'all stay tuned for that. But we didn't talk about Keyshawn Davis clout chasing. We didn't talked about Abdullah Mason, the future great legend. We didn't talked about Jambu Sinners, the very talented Jambu Sinners. Y'all continue to follow us on this journey. Like I said, this is the genesis. This is the beginning. Continue to subscribe to our channel. Continue to like, share it with everybody you could think of. I don't care if they're in the grave. Hey, go put your phone by their tombstone. No, just playing. Y'all, God forgive me. All I'm saying is at the end of the day, share this with everybody. You know what I mean? We growing and we're gonna continue to grow, we're gonna continue to evolve. Like I said, we clutched up, we clutched out. You know what we talking about. I'm Boss, that's Brody. We out of here.
Hello.